All right, everybody, let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. I'm glad you guys are here. Let's talk about this movie. So, I could jokingly be like, "Hello, everybody. My name." No. So, I think first thing to, first thing to address and to talk about just as a whole with this movie. This is what the stream is going to be about. Is I want to kind of leave it up to the floor. I want you guys to give me your thoughts and reactions to the movie, and we can kind of talk and we can discuss things you liked, things you didn't like. That's what I want this whole stream to be about. Is just kind of giving my own thoughts and reactions to this movie. Because I'm going to be honest, this movie was pretty good. I think without any negative criticism, I think the overall thing about the movie Iron Lung that Markiplier made is whether it was lacking in direction, action, plot, context, dialogue, screenwriting, script, like whatever it lacked, if it did lack a lot of things, because I don't think it lacked too much, but if there was anything that it did lack, at the end of the day, this movie's a win, and I don't think there's any like L's metaphorically to say, just considering like if you have followed the story along with how long it took Markiplier to make this movie, because if I'm not mistaken, he's been working on this for over 2.5 years, and I think with just the story, if you've been following along, because he's given a lot of checkpoints and big updates throughout the the months and the years and stuff leading up to this. Like I remember, I mean, at least for me personally, I think there was the streamer, like obviously there was the trailer, which I mean, hell, let's go double check. I think the trailer. When did the first trailer drop? Let me look here. Two years ago. Final trailer 2 months ago. And then this was... What's the date on this? Yeah. October of 2014. So I mean, we've been waiting a long while. We've been waiting a long while for this. And so, I mean, if anything, if there are any criticisms or any like negatives to look at, I think it's a positive. And I think it's a win, just considering like there are a lot of other movies that we have seen that have been in post-production hell, or just production hell. Like that's the term, where there are some movies where it takes forever to get made. One movie, like if I'm being honest, like whether like it's movies, video games, books. I remember reading the Fablehaven movies. I mean the Fablehaven books, and like forever since at least like elementary and junior high, I've been like, yo, it'd be super badass if they ever made a movie. And now it's taken like almost 15 years for them to get something going. And so like movies don't just now, because with how the staple and the blueprint has been the last handful of years, like we think, okay, we're gonna greenlight a movie here, and this is what it's gonna be. Let's get up, let's go, and like we can get this going and we can get it done. That's not how movies, like it seems easy, but there's studios, there's like the Hollywood aspect, like somebody has to buy up the IP, and it takes a minute. And like Markiplier has talked about this, there are plenty of other YouTube channels out there that have talked about the fine details of why a movie takes forever to get made and why a movie takes a very long time to make. And it's the same with video games, which is why there's been a huge influx of influx is probably one of the silliest words to use in this case, but you look at some video games that have been pretty popular, and the reason why it's pretty popular is because they go the indie route. And the reason why they go the indie route is you have a little bit more say in your creative process for your creation and what you want to do, but then you get to fast track through other, gosh, I'm trying to think. It might have been Expedition 33. the one that won Game of the Year. I think they went the independent route, but through if I'm getting the video game and the creators correct, and I'm lining it up correctly, what would have taken, what took them a handful of years to get done, because no, it didn't just turn over in 12 months. Like, it took a couple years to make because of the rendering and the graphics and how long it typically makes the video take, how long it takes time wise to make a video game. It would have taken them, if they went the traditional route through a game developer and all those, leaps and hoops, 10 years roughly. It would have taken them 10 years, but they went the independent route. Very successful release, very critically acclaimed video game, and it was a success story. But like with, anyways, that's long-winded answer and stuff on, like, just as a whole, the fact, like, before we ever watch the movie or give my thoughts and reactions, that's why I think this is a success, is because the fact that Markiplier was able to get it done. Now, with the fact that it was kind of a one-man show, I didn't really believe that 1,000%. But then looking at, behind the scenes footage and like this image, for example, where, yeah, there were a lot of close-up shots, and then you learn a little bit more and you're like, oh yeah, for some of the very close-up shots, he was working the camera. And that, like, if you're pretty claustrophobic or you don't like the tight, close shots, this is not the film for you. Like, there are a lot of very focused shots, very close-ups of, you have to feel the environment. There was a lot of establishing shots of just drip. That's the best way I could say, because not only was it sweat or water or precipitation or blood, like, there's just a lot of establishing shots of, okay, something is melting in the tube. And so yeah, if you're one of those where, you love the establishing shots of, it being up close and personal, this is a movie for you. A lot of this film, let me go find the photo. Where's a good photo? A lot of the film is this shot right here, where this film does not take place in multiple areas. It's just in the box itself, where you're in the ship. I would say, if there was only, because there are a few, and they're little minor critiques that I have. More establishing shots of the environment, and there have been a handful of reviewers that have talked about that, which I haven't even specified or clarified from the beginning of my review, which, whoops, I should have. There will be spoilers. I'm going to talk a lot about spoilers, so let's just get that out of the way. And the other thing that I want to get out of the way too is, none of this is like it's all my opinions, but none of this is like to be demeaning. Like, if anything, it's more of a success, and I would not look at this as a failure, considering you look at like box office and like how much money Markiplier's been able to make back, considering where it was charting. We looked at box office numbers. Like, this movie is a success, and I'm going to give it a lot of praise on that for being a success with what it competed against. And so some of the criticism that I do have against the movie, it's just little criticism, and it's just little nicks and knacks here, but overall, like, it's nothing to be like, okay, this movie sucks ass, I'm never gonna see it again. Because no, like, this, for his first movie, this is a damn good one. Like, it's pretty good, all things considered, because there have been a lot of people that have talked about, YouTubers cannot make movies. And even with, like, following along the same kind of budget, I don't know if PewDiePie made a series. I'm trying to think of, I know Markiplier made a YouTube series. I think Film Theory made a YouTube series, where there was a budget in it, and there was acting, and there was sequences of like you're watching a mini movie but through multiple videos. I'm trying to think if any other YouTubers, because wasn't there? It was like YouTube Labs or it was something along those lines. But like considering that this is what this could have been, where yeah, we're looking at Disney Channel quality, Nickelodeon quality, where it's like, wow, this yikes, this wasn't good. That's not what this was. Like this felt like a movie. The environment, you could feel the environment. Like this was set, like you could clearly tell this was set, off of Earth, after the post rapture, the small rapture. I don't know what they can't remember what they called it, but like you can tell this was on desolate planet in the middle of an ocean. Like you could tell that it was off world. You could tell that this was a space timey-wimey kind of movie, and there was nothing to distract to go, oh yeah, okay, you could tell, yeah, this was strung together with the budget of a few pieces of duct tape, literally, because I mean, if you know and if you've seen the movie, the button and like the photograph button, or yeah, because I don't remember which. In fact, let's double check. Let's go look. I don't know what the budget was. 1,000%. I think it was under $1 million. Well, I was wrong. Okay, so it was 3 million. I'm gonna count. This is okay. 20 million opening. 30.5. I think this number's only gone up because of, I mean, come on. Because it's still in theaters. For this 3 million, I'm going to cut at least 1 million of it and say it was towards advertising, because listening to podcasts of actors and producers and directors, like one thing that they do talk about when they make a movie is, if you look at like, and use this when you're watching a movie or whatever, if you care about the analytics and the stats side of it, is if you're looking at a movie, at least half of the budget goes into advertising. That is something that I've heard. Not Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon. Matt Damon was talking about it when he was with Ben Affleck on JRE, when they were talking about their new movie and promoting it. That a lot of what went into the budget of them making that movie, it went into advertising. Like, hey, come see our freaking movie. So, anyways, let's pull up. Let's get back to this. So, establishing shots. With all that being said, now when we want to talk about, okay, let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's start to tear this movie apart. The only thing that I think could have, if there was a change that I would have made, was rip the Band-Aid off and show the monster. And again, spoiler, that's the big spoiler. There isn't a big reveal to a monster. I mean, you can see it, but it's very... Oh, I'm trying to compare it to... What could I compare it to? Where... I'm trying to think. Okay. Watch this, ready? Let me show you something. Alright, look at this. Let me show you something here. So, in Star Wars, which I was going to make a comparison to this, clearly, like, there are establishing shots of, yeah, you can see the monster, you can see, there's no shots like this in the movie at all. And that would be one blemish that I would have. Like, to have a shot like this. Now, again, is this campy? Yes. Is it Star Wars? Also, yes. Is this scary at all? No, not really. Okay. like a lot of people would look at this and go, okay, that's not scary at all. The best way I can describe the monster in this is it looked, truthfully, it looked more like this than it did this. Because I mean, if you played the game, it kind of has like a like here. Let me show you. Let me show y'all. So warning, if y'all get spooked, easy. Iron Lung game. Okay, the fish, that is it right there. So it looks kind of like an angler fish, sorta. Um, Frog like. People have compared it to a frog. People have also said it looks like two fishes merged together to create the image. Just because, again, like the budget of this game when it was made on a potato. Like it wasn't like this is, you know. Okay, but anyways, um, that would be my only big thing is what, not that it would have made more sense, but if there was a shot where it established, okay, here's your big bad, um, in the way of, how do I describe it? Just an establishing shot of, you know that there's the monster down there, and you know that it's, looming, versus, like, for example, what would have been good, and again, not a huge deal, but the amount of potential that could have come from just, this is earlier in the film. I mean, some things that give it away is he's not at the bottom, because there's a lot, and I mean a lot of establishing shots of the keyboard that he's working with, um, the camera, the photo, um, the radio, when he's talking with the radio, a lot of those shots, and again, yeah, a lot of shots establishing on the panels, a lot of camera shots that show the running boards and stuff. Because again, you're in the box for the whole movie. A lot of close-ups like this. But what could have been super cool is if there was a shot, and I'm kind of not pissed, but it's like it's missed potential of how sick would it have been of having this, but right here. That, I think that would have missed out potential in that aspect of, from the get go. It's kind of a the best way I can describe it is it's as if this character Simon, like I want to call it Markiplier. No, but it's as if we go on this journey together both at the same time, knowing what's happening, because from the beginning, and it's kind of up there in it's kind of left up in the air, and only till, and again, this is a spoiler, because the woman that he's talking to, you can see she has a huge gash on her face, and it's kind of like, okay, where'd that come from? I mean, this is space, so there could be a plethora of things that happened to why she has the marks on her face. But then, okay, spoiler territory, when you go further into the movie, you can put two and two together that, oh, she's been attacked by the fish in some way, shape, or form, because you can see that the blood is like acid blood, where it starts to deteriorate, and like with how scarred up her face is, that's how scarred up he ends up getting. And so the difference of how she was able to get out, and survive, but he didn't, that's like, okay, like, ignore that plot. But where, oh shit, I had a thought, and I freaking, damn it, I lost it. But oh my gosh, it was about this shot. It was about this shot right here. Oh, and I forgot it. I already freaking forgot it. Sorry, people. But it was, oh, yes, okay. But with, yes, okay. It's coming back to me. Woo! I lost it for a minute, but it's coming back to me. Okay. He goes up, he goes down, and then he goes up, and then he is saying, guys, there's something down there. And what I think would have fit to, because another term that heard when a lot of people talk about this movie is a slow burn. I don't think there's a slow burn to a huge jump scare of boom, there's the fish. But what I think could have impacted the movie a little more is where the Simon character has no clue that there's a fish down there. Because the whole time, yes, I would say it does kind of play into the paranoia of, is he seeing things, like the psychedelic parts of it, which we're going to get into. I'll talk a little bit later about the psychedelic parts, because there's parts of me where I'm like, was that a creative liberty that Markiplier took? Because parts of me is like, you didn't need to have the psychedelic, like, oh, was it all an illusion? Like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm still a little like, okay. But where, how much crazier could it have been where there is no, because that's the other thing too, is they know that there's a fish down there, but they're having him go look, and they're sending him to his eventual doom, which, yes, that's established, but like the way that I was thinking is, how much crazier would it have been if there was no idea, like they had no idea that there was any creatures down there. They had no idea. They just, were crossing through the galaxy, looking for resources on blood moons and stuff, or we're looking for abandoned other fleets and stuff, because like the connection between the other capsules and stuff, like it was kind of like, okay, but where there's no idea anything is down there, and instead of in the first 5 minutes establishing, okay, the monster's here, and Markiplier's character Simon is, scared shitless, being like, I don't want to go back down there. It's a I'm going to use the term, slow burn of, he's just going down there, and like he can see through the red, he can see through it like as if he's, sailing through the ocean or something. But where the elements of horror can come in is some parts are a little bit dense and thicker, and when he is searching and taking scans, through the camera and seeing bones, like you could have other other pieces, like here's a piece of a missing ship here is, skeletons of, like, you can tell, okay, that's a human, but it's nothing too crazy, and like you build it over time of like, okay, he went down, this is what he, this is how the expedition went day one, this is what he was able to find. But then by like, day 4, day 5, then you have that big reveal of, holy shit, something else is actually down here. Because again, with all the scanners or whatever, with how as much technology is down there, they have no clue that there's a huge, pending monster. But then again, after being down there for the umpteenth time, you find that huge skeleton body, and then boom, you have an establishing shot like that, where it's darker or something, and then you have a huge, because again, when you play the video game, everybody talks about this part, because this is a part that can jump scare you, because usually what happens is, the monster's banging up on the side of the tube, which there are a handful of those scenes, which was pretty cool. But then you have one of those establishing shots of, dude, the eye is freaking looking at you, and I think it would have been really cool. But that's just me with how this potential could have been. But again, it's a small thing. I think with other writing dilemmas, and again, this comes with the pacing, is there was a moment in the film, and it is towards the end, and I will say, like, if we're wondering where $3 million of the budget went, it's when he does come in contact with the monster. I will give props to that, because the visualization of, like, you see half of the ship melting and it freezes, such a cool scene. Because like visually you can see the monster like looking at him, and stuff if you're paying attention, which is really cool. Now, where I'm a little like, okay, because again, this takes place over the course of days, but it feels like 2 hours, you know. And you can tell that there is passages of time because, you know, him taking off his hoodie or doing simple tasks around the tube. What could have helped establish a little bit more time is him resurfacing more, establishing more shots of, like, you know, him going through a trial of him, you know, what his life was like before, and then after he committed his crimes to be then sentenced to his ultimate doom of, you know, scavenging the planet for resources or whatever. You could have had establishing shots like, you know, you could have shown a little bit more Jacksepticeye, which I thought his cameo was kind of cool. But like like if we're trying to show a passage of, you know, hey, it's been a couple hours, have more, like when he's down there, you could have scenes that deliver like the looming doom of, you know, Ava talking, you know, with Jack's character and being like, yeah, there is something down there. But Simon has no clue. He's just down there looking for resources, having no clue. And it would go back to a scene that would look like this with the eye or a jump scare right here. But have the characters outside, out of the tube, talking about what's actually down there, and Simon has no clue. So I think that's one thing that I was a little about. Another thing that I think would have been a little bit more. Oh yeah, here's the. Which, I mean, yeah, this is again, we're stretching because it's like this is what the game looked like. Which I like how, you know, he kept using the map and it showed him twisting the levers and the knobs and like the oxygen thing. Like it was very, very accurate to the video game. But I would have had where if you want to talk about crimes and punishment, the best thing I can think of, because I was trying to think of other movies to try to compare it to, is Order of the Phoenix. Okay, you know how in Order of the Phoenix, before Harry goes back to Hogwarts, there's the trial, because it's like you use magic without permission, yada yada, and we have a trial scene. What if, and again, because there's a lot of flashback scenes to things which, if you know the lore and you know the depth of like the game, it's like okay, maybe, but considering that the most lore I know is what it tells you during the movie, I'm kind of like, okay. But like if it showed, for example, because you're meant to believe that, you know, he did this bad thing and this is his punishment, and so it's like maybe he deserves to get eaten by the fish. What I would have done is shown, because we don't learn about like what had happened. We don't know the full story either of how his system or something got destroyed. We don't know the full story because it only showed a flashback for a brief second, and then it never talked about it again. If you had an establishing shot of like for the first 10 minutes, because here's where I feel a little bit about the movie is this movie could have gone two ways, where you either make the movie an hour 30, hour 40, but make it airtight, you know, concise, of like a tight script of going boom, 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 boom. Or you do blow it up to about a 2 hour, maybe 2.5, where you have more establishing shots. Because, I mean, I think it would have been a little bit more engaging to, if we're going to take, you know, creative freedoms and liberties of, I mean, we're stretching a 40-minute game into a 2-hour movie, because this is what you're looking at the whole time, and then, you know, you turn around, you go take a picture, and you're following the map and stuff. What if, yeah, for the first 10 minutes of the movie, it shows and it establishes, in a sense, yeah, like this is how this planet was formed, instead of like a narration over and then it, because that's how the movie starts, is there's a narration over and then you see the aerial view of the blood moon and then it just jumps in. What could have been cool is showing a spaceship fly up and then drop the submarine in again, establishing shot, just establish and show the environment. I think what would have been cool is seeing this. Like they could have made this in any sense, like this could have been the opening scene. You show the moon, you show the submarine jump in, drop into it. But yeah, for the first 10 or 15 minutes of the film, you could have gotten to know the Simon character, you could have gotten to know the Ava character or the Jack character a little bit more. You could have had him, getting his system destroyed, whether he was innocent or guilty. You have that that scene where you establish, okay, this is your sentence. Because the other thing too that was kind of trippy, and this is where like it was like ripping off the band-aid of, okay, here we go, we're finally going to see the fish, is he was hearing voices, and the voice established like his name is Simon because he was called convict the whole movie. And then when it's like boom, somebody called him Simon, it's like the fish knows. Which that's the other thing, is it's like, who's speaking to him? Is the fish speaking to him? Because there's parts where my brain's like, yeah, that makes sense. If the fish is talking to him and that's the one who's connecting to him, it's like, okay, sure, that makes sense. I'm not, too worried and going, I don't know, that doesn't make sense. But there's parts of me where it's like, yeah, if this is something where, the sea has many mysteries and the fish can telepathically talk to people, it's like, yeah, okay, then that makes sense. But you have that, like, that shot that shows, okay, this is him, he can either die, like we sentence you to death, or you go, because he doesn't know the dangers, but the court knows the dangers. Ava knows the dangers potentially. Maybe even Jack's character, or she can reveal it later to Jack's character. You know the impending dooms. You know the dangers there. His character Simon doesn't. And then it's either you comply, you go look for resources for us, or he sentence you to death. And that's where he makes that agreement of, okay, yeah, I'll go do this. Because one thing that did drag a little bit, kind of like the point I'm trying to make, is there were lots of scenes where it's like, okay, I'm going to go do this. And then he does it. And then they're like, okay, we need you to do one more thing. Then he's like, all right, deal. I'll go do this one more thing. And then he does the one thing, and then nothing happens. And it's like, okay, we need you to go do one more thing. Okay, we need you to go do one more thing. And it just kind of, I mean, it did make sense, because it eventually, because we needed to get to the big fish. The ultimate end goal was the big fish. But, like, the other, I don't know. Like, it kind of made no sense, because it's like, no person would be like, okay, yeah, I guess we can do this deal here. I'll go do one more. Because at that time, too, he'd been attacked 3 separate times by the big fish. So I don't know if that problem comes from pacing or just continuity of, okay, this is where the story's going. It's still going in that direction. I don't know. I feel like I'm picking apart this movie way too much, which I don't mean to. And again, I think one of these kind of scenes, I pulled this one off the internet, but a scene like this where you watch, the fish come and like eat them up, I think that would have been super cool. Sadly, that didn't happen. I think this scene was super cool. It was a little jarring, because it's like, okay, what's going on here? Because, and again, after this scene happens and then he comes back to it, and like the radio comm is like, oh, we've been trying to contact you, we haven't heard from you in like a week. It's like, how could we tell that a week had passed? And what was the explanation of him coming to this plane where like he's just sitting, and then he looks up and you see an eye for like a split second, then it flashes back, and then he sees like a ghostly image. It's himself, but it's when he's decaying. But like he sees that in the pod, but then there's still like 40 more minutes. No, not 40, but at least like 30 more minutes left in the film. Like my I guess my brain doesn't wrap around how he entered that place, which maybe that's on me for not knowing all the lore too much. But if like if it's I don't know. It was cool. It was a cool visual, but then at the same time it was a little confusing. Now, what was super cool leading up to this scene though is after the walkie-talkie person that he was talking to, and he could see the radio was destroyed, so it's like, okay, obviously he's losing oxygen and he's thinking of these things and it's all in his head. Like you see a split like blink and you miss it. There's a frame shot where it shows the huge monster fish eating the boat. That would have been cool if it would have stayed on that shot and just showed the monster swallowing the boat. No, not the boat, but like the sub. Just like if you have that huge establishing shot of the monster coming in and just going home. That would have been cool, but yeah, that's not here nor there. Look at me. I'm picking apart a movie that was $3 million. Now, let's talk about some fun lore. Monster did not look like this. It'd have been cool if it looked like this. This is what the monster looked like. Sorry, jump scare, the spookies. For anybody. Now, there were, I believe, because again, he gets attacked 2 or 3 times. Because there's the one, he accomplishes the mission, but then he's attacked, and because he's attacked, he gets stranded on the bottom. The bottom of the lake, or he gets stranded in the cave. Okay, which is when he starts to lose his mind and he gets upset. Because I will give props to Markiplier in those scenes, because you can tell the anger of Simon, and you can tell how mad he is. At the same time, what I think could have been cool when you're going through the cave and seeing these is, what if, and I mean this could be how the movie could have ended, is what if, like in the video game, the last thing is the fish eating the boat. Because the other scene, and again, jump scare warning sorta, is this image, which this kind of doesn't show the monster too much. I mean, you can tell that this is the other sub that he supposedly makes contact with, which, how there's a radio and another person down there talking. Again, was it all in his head? Sorry, I had to take a sip. I think because what doesn't get answered though is if there's actually another person and another sub, and like if, and again, it could have built to kind of the stakes of the movie, is if it showed, again, 2 submarines go in or 3 submarines go in, and little by little, because again, he talks with this other maybe ghostly person that was, and again, it's not established where that came from, but like it tells them to go to that coordinates, which is where we have the cool scene where you can see the fish kind of like right next to him on the side of the sub, and like he goes to that weird other plane or whatever. But if, oh my gosh, yeah, I've given way too much thought into this. Holy shit! But like, if it would have shown the stakes of their explorers. That's like, here we go. We don't know the impending doom that's in here. We're all getting in our subs and we're all going down there. And like little by little, one by one, they're all picked off. That would have been cool. What else? What's another shot? Oh yes, this could have been cool. Like if this was the final shot of the movie, where like you can see the sub go into the monster's mouth, because there is that scene. I will say, which I couldn't find a photo on the internet. Which, I mean, it makes sense. This movie, you know, no spoilers at all. And again, maybe this is the lore of it. This is either the lore of it, or this is Markiplier taking his own creative liberties to it. It's an entity, which is a weird. That's the only word that I can kind of describe it as, where it's not just a huge shark that's underwater swimming around eating things. Like, it has limbs and tentacles that can spread into something, to the point where, because I didn't notice it. You don't notice it until, okay, this is what's going on. Is which I will give lots of props to, is the setting shots of you can see the decay, like the submarine's decaying the whole time. Now, could that be because the blood is acid? Maybe, or something. But you can see the actual physical damage that's going and taking on. Because I'm not saying it ripped off of Stranger Things, no, but it's as if you see elements of the Upside Down with growing, just elements just like growing on the side and inside of the sub, and then it spreads onto his hand, and then like he's stuck, and like he literally has to rip off his arm, which, again, whatever, not part of the game at all. I think creative liberty, but like, what could have been cool there is like, you have, you know, he's pinned or whatever, and like at the very end you see the fish just come, like you can see he's stuck, you know, he's clamming for, you know, dear life or whatever, and then at the very end, to end the movie, it's like you can just see the fish come out and just like eat him, or I don't know, I'm thinking about it way too much. But the growth or whatever of the fish, it spreads. Like, I don't know if that's deep lore, part of the video game or something, but that to me kind of was like, oh, okay. Like, it didn't make sense, but it's like, oh, okay. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else in the movie I liked or didn't like. Because there's a lot to like. Like, I did like a lot of this movie. Like, I know it might sound like I'm destroying this movie and picking it apart, which I'm not. I'm not. Like, I did genuinely like this movie. The only thing that would have been a little cooler, and I said it at the top, show the fish. Seeing like an actual depiction of the fish would have been so cool, instead of just seeing this small little, you know, because this is it. This is all you see of the fish. You don't see a big bad boom, like for example, let me pull up something real quick. Okay. In the movie Jaws, where's okay, this scene. There wasn't any scene like this. Which again, when you get to because the fish is bigger than Jaws, so it all would have had to be CG. And again, this is easier said than done. In the end, Markiplier is the one making the movie, not me. This scene, okay, the boat scene. Yes, here we go. Here we go. Jaws comes out, and then he like springs right back up, going, "Whoa, what the hell?" What would have been cool is, oh my gosh, I lost my point of. Oh, lost my thought here. It's only the thought is just there's no like you go look online look like there's no actual yeah this scene would have been cool if like the poster total lie. I'll say this is a super big lie. There's no or this because this right here is essentially what this was. Which again, you can see it's got the two eyes. Like again, you can see the monster. It's cool, but then like seeing it attack would have been. Which this, I didn't understand this because there was other parts of the movie too where when I was watching where I was like, oh they got he got swallowed. Like after there's a couple scenes like this where he's typing at a keyboard. Um, Here it is. Okay, which again, huge spoiler. Like it freezes and you see alongside of you see the side of the ship again. Super cool visual. Super cool. This is Jacksepticeye. Apparently he gets blinded or something. Because again, there's no and maybe it's me where you need a little bit of an exposition dump. There weren't really any exposition dumps, and when there were, it was way after the fact. Like, I mean, with what are we talking about? The like with the him and his home world or whatever that ends up getting destroyed is he feels super guilty about it the whole movie, but like there's an on again off again of like was it his fault? No, it wasn't his fault. And then like little by little he tells more of it and more of it and more of it, and it's like if it would have shown it in the first 15 minutes of this is why you are a prisoner, it would have made more sense. Instead of being like, okay, yeah, he's guilty. He wiped out his own station. And then, like, he has the nickname, like, Simon the Executioner or whatever. But then slowly, like, by more dialogue dump more and more, it's like, oh, maybe he was in it. But it's like, we would have... Anyways. Again, I'm thinking about it way too freaking much. We're talking about a $3 million movie that quadrupled its budget coming back, and I'm over here dissecting it. Even though I really liked it, there was a lot still that could have, because there was no. Here's the other thing too. Is this wasn't a scary movie, like, now with the game there's a lot of cheap jump scares and stuff, and it's spooky because again you don't know what's going on around you, and there's the fun little cosmic analog horror theme to it. That's not what this was. There was a lot of just kind of him being pissed and like throwing shit, and which again it is what it would have. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of leaves me wanting more, if that makes sense. But other than that, I liked it. Other than that, I really liked it. Now, in the end, though, with the whole radio being broken, was it all in his head? Was it not? I'm thinking. I'm thinking it was real the whole time. I don't know. Maybe he started seeing things while he was down there. That could be. Let me think about one more thing. Let me look up. I want to show y'all something. Ooh, this would have been cool. Like if we got an establishing shot of like seeing, because this is kind of what the fish looked like. I think it was I think it was Jeremy where I got the term slow burn a lot with this movie. Okay, let me show you. Okay, this, yeah, I need to watch another video or something to explain what this extra dimension world is or something. Um, where is? Let me show y'all something. Let me show you something. I want to show y'all something. Hold on, let me pull up. Whoop. I want to get to it, but I don't want to get copyright claims. So let me. Right here. Okay. Okay. Now, when whoop, when I watched this the first time, let me bring it all the way back and down. Okay. So, the other thing that I will say too, aesthetically, was actually pretty cool from a creative point of view is because one of the establishing things in the whole video game is the monster's eye and how the eye is watching you. There are moments in this movie where you can see, because again, like the artistry of it when you use your imagination, the lights underwater, you can envision it as eyes. Um, because this movie is very dark in the sense of like, he keeps hitting the camera thing to light up the sub, but in some of the establishing shots, like it zooms into the button like as if the buttons watch what, which again, cool kind of aesthetic. Okay, so this is the trailer. What I think would have been cool is now I have it slowed down super slow mo, which let me see if the quality. Let's bump up the quality here. Try to get a 4K up in this bitty. Okay, now this is me, and when I saw the trailer the first time all those years ago, this huge outline here looks like the fish to me, and this is kind of, and I'm not crazy for thinking that it is the fish because it's still like, look at that. Tell me that does not look like the fish coming to eat him. And to end the movie, like, because again we have the cool scene where, because this whole plane, like this third world dimension where he gets thrown to, not explained, which again, if I knew the lore, maybe it'd make a little bit more sense why he's thrown to this spot. But if this is how the movie ended, where we can tell, okay, the sub is halfway full, you know, he's gonna die, you know, and he goes here, he comes up out of the, you know, out of the blood and stuff, and you can see the lightning and stuff and the lighting and all that cool thing. And then just as he's looking around, and then he looks back up, and then boom, jump scare right in our face. the fish flying out of nowhere coming to eat him. Because tell me, like, again, tell me you don't see a fish somewhere in there. Like, that would have been super sick, super cool. But again, yeah, this scene isn't even like, there's more here. Where's the scene where he's coming up out of like this trailer shows a little bit more of this whole scene. And this isn't what it looked like. It looked a little bit more open. Like you could kind of see the water a little bit more. It was a more open, established spot in the movie. But again, they've definitely made a lot of changes. But yeah, you can totally tell it's a fish. See, I knew I wasn't seeing things. But again, yeah, if you, anyways, I've yapped way too much about that particular thing. Let's go back over here. Here we go, right here. It's kind of a spoiler, sorta. Yeah, blink if you miss it. There's the monster's eye. Like he melts. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. Like the little, because it turns from a like it turns from a fish to like an entity thing that sort of like wraps around the boat and like swallows it up. I don't know. Don't know how to explain it. Do not know how to explain it. But that's that. That's that, guys. So, let me look at other. I want to look at other. Let me look at. Let me look. I see something here. Maybe. Hold on. Let me look at one more thing. Hold on. Maybe this will show it. Oh yeah, there's the. I won't show this because I don't think. Now again, okay. So with the like, hey, okay, we're getting ready to fight. This scene, pretty cool, pretty cool, because there was a moment in the whole movie where it's like, okay, we're gonna rip the band-aid off. Oh, here, hold on, whoops, sorry y'all, whoops, should have paid attention to that. There was a part in the movie where it's like, okay, we're gonna rip the band-aid off now, and then we're gonna have the big reveal, and there wasn't, which is like, oh, okay, but yeah, anyway, because he rams the fish. Whoa, that's cool. And again, some of the artwork shows the monster a little bit more detailed. Like, and again, maybe I missed something when I was watching it, because as far as I know, the only real establishing shot of the monster is where he finds it in the cave and takes a picture, and then he goes back and it's not there, and it's like, oh shit, it moved. Which again, if yeah, trying to think. What else would I have done? Yeah, if it would have shown more shots of like outside of the sub, that would have been cool. But other than that, like, seriously, I have nothing but good things to say about the movie, because it was a good movie. It was a good movie, even though it might sound like I trashed it for about an hour. Here's what I liked about it, and I guess we can end it on this, because because again, I'm kind of forgetting. It's late, and truthfully, I like real time. I saw this about 3 hours ago, so some of these things where it's like I don't even remember. It probably did show, but I've already just kind of in my subconscious forgot. The reason why like this is good and it's a win in a sense, and I liked it, is because you could take it one of two ways. I think, I think a lot of independent films are going to start to be made a little bit more. And I don't think not saying that every YouTuber or Twitch streamer or, you know, which jokingly enough, because there was a freaking trailer. There's a trailer for a movie coming out, and I don't remember which one it is. It has Elijah Wood, the one with Elijah Wood, where it's a game of cat and mouse and stuff, and it's like two sisters running from this family trying to get him and kill him. But like when I watched that trailer, I was like, dude, this is basically like a Mr. Beast video, but like a movie of a Mr. Beast video. And there's a couple other pretty interesting movies coming out. Like there's going to be one, The Mummy. There's the Glenn Powell movie that's going to come out. But with like this movie and what this movie means, again, when we talk about the comparisons and its competition for who it's gone up against, because I mean, you guys have seen the memes, and clearly you've seen the memes about it. If you're even interested in Iron Lung in the first place, you would know it. Is it dominated in the box office? And I think the reason why it dominated in the box office is because the fact that Markiplier has 30 million subscribers on YouTube. He already has that built-in fan base. And I think when we want to talk about the future of movies or TV shows or whatever, I really think that, like, you look at other big YouTubers. I mean, I don't think Jacksepticeye is working on anything, but like if Jacksepticeye decided to make a stupid, dumb buddy comedy, it would have to be like a Jumanji type movie. But if he wanted to make a movie about Happy Wheels, because that's one of his more successful, well-known like Let's Plays, is playing Happy Wheels or any other video game that he's loved. It's like that movie's gonna make a lot of freaking money. Like if he finds, I mean, for example, I'm trying to think of, you know, I'm trying to think of actors that he could have, but like I think just with how, yes, it took 3 years to make, and there was a reason why it took 3 years, but I think if Mr. Beast wanted to make a movie, totally could. And I think what we're watching is there have been a lot of movies lately where there's not as much passion behind it, and when you see the live streams or the interviews with Markiplier and he's like getting passionate and getting into it, that's like it's because it was like in a way like a love letter. And like when you see some movies lately, like for example, Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I think Deadpool and Wolverine was for fans, like it was intended for fans, and it was a love letter to Fox fans, because the X-Men for Fox just kind of like dwindled away, and there was never like they couldn't recapture maybe what they got from Logan or Days of Future Past, and it kind of just got swept under the rug because the more newer X-Men movies weren't as critically acclaimed as the other ones. And I just think with this kind of movie and these kind of movies, um, it also shows Markiplier has a huge acting range, and I think he can, if he wants to do other sci-fi thrillers, I think he could be the right person to do it, because that's the other thing too, is with as much pull as he as a creator has to even get me to go watch the movie, or the countless other people that went to the movies to go watch it. Yeah, you could tell it was him, but like at the same time, it, what's the word I'm trying to look here? Like when you're watching Harry Potter, we'll go back to Harry Potter. Like it's Daniel Craig, but like you see it and you're like, yeah, that's Harry Potter. Or you watch, did I say Daniel Craig? I meant Radcliffe. Daniel Craig is James Bond, like, but you watch James Bond films, and whatever Daniel Craig from, you're like, this is Quantum of Solace. Even watching some of the Knives Out movies, or any other movie he's in, it's like, no, that's still James Bond. Which is why, the Elijah Wood movie with the trailer, it's like, Frodo, what are you doing here? Like, I can't watch, I cannot watch a Viggo Mortensen movie without going, that's Aragorn. You watch, oh gosh, what movie did I watch recently? Shit, Johnny Depp. Every single movie I watch that has Johnny Depp in it, it's like, it's Captain Jack right there. Unless like he's going all out, where it's like, no, that's Sweeney Todd or something. But anyways, it is almost midnight, so we are gonna end the stream here, guys. I'm gonna do a hard out on the shorts end. I thank you guys for being here and hanging out, giving my thoughts on Iron Lung. I know it was pretty rambled and all over the place, sporadic, but I'll catch you guys in another stream. Alright, so bye on that side. Sweet. Alrighty. Close out of that, close out of that. Close out of that. Back to it. Like I think that there are a lot of actors and actresses and directors, and like I think what this movie kind of showed for Markiplier is like, yeah, you don't need to go the traditional, oh, I went to 4 years of film school, I went to, like, even the most well-known directors, the biggest fans, like, okay, the Christopher Nolan homers out there, they know Nolan dropped out of film school. yet look at how many wonderful, fantastic movies he's made. Which people are already making their memes about if the Odyssey is going to be good. But like it showed that I think Markiplier in this movie alone showed that like dude, this is Markiplier. Markiplier did not go to, like, we haven't seen him doing Broadways in New York or being cast for like Stranger Things The First Shadow, over at the West End, overseas or something on Broadway doing musicals or anything. It's like this dude's literally like, YouTube basement dweller, and like he had the funds to go make a movie. And all things considered, because I've given a lot of praise to the tube, I keep saying the tube, but like the submarine scene where time froze and like the fish is ripping apart the side of the submarine. The visuals on that are a lot better than some of the more live action like Disney movies we've seen, some of the superhero movies we've seen. Like this movie had a very grounded feel. I'm not trying to be irreverent here, but like, because you can't even say comic book accurate, but like, okay, think about Matt Reeves' The Batman with Robert Pattinson. There were some scenes in that movie where it's like, oh, okay, this is a little bit of a stretch. But we'll go back to Nolan. But in Nolan's films, it's like it was very grounded in the way of, no, Batman didn't need to be swinging and jumping and running around and grappling and spidering across the ceiling like how he's been depicted in other Batman films, like with not Josh Whedon, Zack Snyder's Batman, where Affleck looks like there's a little bit more elements of CGI and cables. But this whole, it was a random tangent to come back to the point of, there are a lot of big creators out there, and if they're inspired to go make movies, I think they should. And because what we are seeing here is that this little video game from back in 2022 ended up being a movie. And in a day and age where everything gets a movie, because I mean, we got a movie coming out about Michael Jackson. We have a movie that is loosely based off Super Mario Galaxy, but then also Mario Odyssey. But again, there's like studio backing to that as well. But like in a day and age where there's documentaries about everything and movies about everything in every niche, if you're looking for it, like the fact that he made this movie, it beat out a lot of movies, and it was the #1 movie in the box office. It's cool. It's actually pretty freaking cool, considering that the budget was $3 million stinking dollars, and a lot of other movies in Hollywood now cost $50 to $100 million to make. Like parts of me are curious, like what if this didn't have to be just Markiplier and his editing team? Like what if, how crazy or how much different would this movie have been if it did have a $50 million budget and he didn't have to be the writer, producer, actor, like, which, not saying that he didn't have a team, because he did have a team with him. But like, could you imagine how much, because again, VFX with CGI and VFX budget, again, like they're probably, with the CGI that was used in this, could you imagine like how much more like menacing or freaky it would have been if like we had that 2 million of the budget just go into the CG of the fish? Like that would have been cool. But either way, I think it's a win. It's a good film. there, some things I'm like, yeah, okay, come on. But other, you know, other than that, I really liked it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it, guys. I thank you for listening to me ramble this long. I'll continue to watch and listen to other reviews. I'm interested to see how other people feel about this movie. Um, uh, but yeah, I think I've given all my thoughts and reactions to it. So again, from the top, um, I think this movie could have been, if it had other establishing shots, like showed more time to develop characters that are outside of the sub, I think, yeah, this easily could have been a 2 hour, 30 minute, 2 hour, 20 minute film. If we didn't want to establish any other characters and have any other character growth, this movie could have been an hour and a half. Considering we're stretching a 20-minute runtime of a video game. And then the other thing is just show the fish. More scenes of the fish would have been fun, because that was the biggest thing I was concerned about with this movie. Is I was really nervous because of how little. Because what's another movie? What are some other movies that have come out recently? Let me go look up a movie. See, this shows how much I haven't. Movies. 2025. What movies came out in 2025? Okay, F1. For example, F1 or The Smashing Machine or the Springsteen movie. Like, if I wanted to go, oh, Avatar, duh. If I wanted to go look up spoilers, or yeah, the Superman movie. These were summer movies though. I'm trying to think of a movie that recently came out. Because we got a couple slim pickings here. But if I wanted to, like, a day of or the day after, if I wanted to go look up spoilers or look up scenes, usually the owner had already posted scenes, or other YouTube that has access to the movies would have posted the scenes or something. But like, this movie was very secretive in the way of like scenes. Like, every review that I watched, or every theory video or whatever, it showed scenes from the trailer. Which, that's the other thing I noticed too about this movie, is a lot of the dialogue of the trailer is split throughout the whole entire movie. And there were a couple moments in the movie where the dynamic between Ava and Simon, I have a feeling there could have been more if it showed them have chemistry before he went down, in the sub, instead of a, like, it's kind of we're trying to have these connective moments where he's talking to what sounds like a ghost, a phantom version of her, and it's like they don't even know each other, but we're supposed to have these connections here, which, again, it does make sense. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, and maybe I'm grasping at straws here, because again, I've already said it and I've rambled way too long that I'm picking apart a $3 million movie, when I could. I mean, Avatar. How much did Avatar cost? Over $100 million. That's like, okay, let's get next stream. We're gonna pick apart the third Avatar movie. But I think. Oh shit! I lost my train of thought. Scenes. We were talking about scenes. I was super nervous that, with the budget of what this film was, one thing that I was really worried about is that there would be no big reveal. Or if there was a big reveal, it would be a cheap jump scare at the very end. Kind of like how the game is, where yeah, the very very last scene, the fish comes out and pops out and gets you. I think what so I was I was nervous that okay, we're gonna go to the movie and we're gonna build up for 2 hours and then we're gonna get a payoff of seeing the fish for what 2 seconds, and I think that's what really that's one thing that I was kind of super concerned about. But other than that, like no, I think there was some payoffs, and you could see the thrill of it's out there, it's in the cave watching them, and that's another thing that would have been cool too, if we're talking about establishing shots, because that has been a reoccurring theme that I'm talking about. Is if we're watching from the point of view of where we have scenes where we make the fish the main character, in the way of what if we watch the fin, like we're doing a shot from behind the back where we can see the fish swimming through and we see the back end of the fin or something, where you can see them curl into the cave or something, and then we can see him whether through I'm trying to how would you visually I can visually see it. What's oh, what movie? Okay, look at this. Okay. Where is No, 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 no. Let's go back to the Batman. Okay, watch this. Watch this. Okay. This is a stretch here, but watch where I'm going with this comparison. Not the opening scene. I'm looking for when the Riddler is watching. Riddler spying. No, no, no. No. Oh my gosh. Hold on. We're going the YouTube route on this. Hold on, people. Hang out here for just a second. You'll watch. It'll make sense. It'll make sense when you see it. When you see what I'm trying to do. Because people talked about one thing that people talked about when they talked about, hey, speaking of Elijah Wood, look at this. Speaking of okay. Boom, right here. Okay. So we have our establishing shot where oh, it's not the Riddler spine cave. Maybe the verbiage is why that didn't work. But we have this opening scene, okay? I'm going to skip through. Okay? Where Batman is watching. Batman is the main character here. And he's watching and he's spying on the mayor. And the reason why I'm bringing this scene up is because you could compare where, and again, if we're gonna make the, and again, I'm sorry I'm over analyzing it, but like if we're trying to make the fish the main character and pull a Moby Dick or something, and you want to establish a little bit of that looming and add the anticipation and the suspense of it, is you could also have scenes showing the fish ripping shit apart, so that threat is there. But again, fish curls themselves into the cave, and then you can have the fish watching as Simon's sub goes by, and you could just watch it, and like you could see his eyes move with it, or something where with here, I'll try to think of, like, you could do a red tint, you could have, because again, like, you look and see um I know it wouldn't make too much sense. This is kind of the final scene, sorta, right here. Right here. Sorta. This is sort of what it looks like. Not really. This is also kind of like a fan adaptation. But again, you have you take this, but then yeah, you watch the sub go around. Anyways, sorry, now I'm rambling. I am rambling way too much. Sorry, guys. Or you could have, yeah, have establishing shots like this, or a couple shots like this. That would have been cool. And again, this is all AI. It's cool. Still a cool movie. Still a super cool movie. I've thought about it way too much. I've thought about it way too much. Now in my next video, okay, so here's the scar. Here's the scar lady. Which again, with her having that scar, it shows she's been down there. Again. Oh, here we go. Yes. How could we have scenes like this? There is no scenes like this, kind of. But anyways. Alright, that's neither here nor there. I've rambled way too much. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, we'll end the stream here, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I've rambled way too much. Now I'm looking and seeing if there's any other fun Markiplier. I'm interested to see if Honest Trailers or CinemaSins or any of them will make a video on this, because I'd love to see their thoughts and reactions. Because I mean, this is definitely a movie that could get something like that. I'd love to see their take on it and make some fun humor towards it. But anyways, guys, I will end the stream here though, with closing thoughts though, with as much as like I would nitpick some certain things, this is still a good movie. Like, the only reason why I nitpick it is because I like it. Like, if I didn't like it, I would say this movie is dog shit, and I wouldn't even waste my time. You know what I mean? But yeah, huge congratulations to Markiplier for being able to make this movie, because this is the start. Like, little does he know, or maybe he does, where I'm trying to, like, who are some other big, okay, Papa Me. You know, okay, let me show you all something. Let's see. Maybe he took it down. Okay. So look at this. Where? No, hold on. Did he take it down? Maybe he did have to take it down. Where did I watch? No way. Am I seeing shit? No. Hold on. You know what? He probably... Yeah, here it is. Sorry, it's playing an ad. Oh no, not my boy Jimmy. Dude, it freaking sucks that he tore his ACL. I hope he doesn't get traded, which he probably will. Okay, I'm probably gonna get hit for... Where is... Okay, let me show. Okay, if y'all know... So he made his own little funny horror spoof. Okay, it's a 13-minute video. But again, like the creativeness behind doing a 13-minute, like I don't know what I can show, but the only reason why I'm bringing this up is back to some bigger creatives and content creators on all platforms is they'll probably look at this movie and go, you know what, I can probably do something like that too. Because I mean, Drewski, how many TV shows? They're not TV shows, but like game show type videos has Drewski made, and he has that comedy with Theo Vaughn coming out. So like, which I need to watch that, and I might give a review to that when that comes up. But like, because I'm telling you what, you put a whole bunch of creatives, you put their heads together or something, like I guarantee you, with like the Drewskis, the Theo Vaughns, the Trevor Wallaces, and like the funny comedic TikTok YouTubers. Oh my gosh, you give them a budget of like 5 million or something, and 5 million is just being honest. They could probably do it for 20 grand. Not you paying them 20 grand, but like the budget of 20 grand. And that would probably just go towards the camera itself and maybe the editing. But again, how the hell could you make a movie off 25 grand? Regardless, that's neither here nor there. These guys would probably make one of the most hilarious comedies to compete with like the heyday of Farley, Spade, Sandler, you know, like these guys who just, the Chris Rocks, the, oh gosh, what are some other funny comedies? Like just comedies as a whole, trying to compete with Seth Farland or Matt Groening or something. But anyways, oh my gosh, now my hair is messing with my face. Those are my thoughts on Iron Lung. Took me way too long to talk about it. Should not take me an hour and a half, but it did. So those are my thoughts. It's a good movie. Definitely will want to give it a rewatch, see what I missed. But yeah, no, it's a good movie. I'd advise, if you've got, you know, free afternoon, if you're a fan of Markiplier, you're a fan of the game, you want to see a little bit of kind of like a psychological, you know, hey, let's go into the deep, you know, this is the one for you. Which, again, like there could, like it, yeah, it was fun. It was a fun, and it still kind of leaves me wanting more. You know what I mean? Like I still feel like there's a little bit of meat left on the bone, but anyway, that's neither here nor there, guys. I will we'll end the stream here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next one.